Hello everyone and welcome back to the Winning Agenda's coverage of the online Twilight Struggle League 2023. My name's Jesse Muehlman-Marshall and we're just going to crack straight in to this match against Ziemowit. It's good to be here and hoping that we can keep the winning train rolling. Good to be 1-0 at the start of the league. I'm playing the USA again. So I've got a few one-ups in this hand, which is a little bit unfortunate. Both CNS and Truman Doctrine useful. Asia scoring, we're going to have to think about where we want that to go. In the turn, I don't think we're going to want to be headlining that. Got 2 4-ups, which is nice. Romanian abdication, we're going to be careful of in terms of Europe. Comic-Con as a 3-up, which is going to show up Eastern Europe, but Eastern Europe attack tends not to be something that happens all that often in my games, as you would have noticed. Though it does happen from time to time, which is one of the great things about Twilight Struggle. It can go in a million different directions. But I think with Comic-Con in our turn 1 hand, that's not going to be where we're heading. So in terms of headlines, it's probably going to be CNS here. And then if we get a successful AR1 coup on Iran, we might dump the Asia scoring as soon as possible. But if the AR1 coup on Iran is not successful, then we might actually be able to get some points out of that Asia scoring. That's what I'm thinking. So we'll see how we go. Although with US-Japan in hand, yeah, I always like, if our opponent's going to have a 4-up, I want it to be US-Japan so that we can play a little bit more safely into South Korea. But c'est la vie. Maybe they don't have any 4-ups. We'll find out. Oh, not 2. I want to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2. And then 1, 2, I think. It's an interesting one because Truman Doctrine does help a little bit, but not really, with Italy if they do coup and coup successfully. But I think with I think we'll go to Iran. And 3 Italy. I think that's where we want to be. And then we'll headline Captured Nazi Scientist, I think, here. And see how we go. So yeah, really interesting tension point there, because with Asia scoring, it is almost a little bit more important for us to hold on to Iran. And particularly now, the 3 in Italy feels a little bit worse, because we're pretty almost certain with Europe scoring out on turn 1 to see a coup of Iran here. So we really need a 1 or we're in trouble. Okay, so that's a good coup. That's unfortunate. So we're going to have to make the long trek up through Asia here. Because we're not going to coup back on 4 ops in Iran. So this could go poorly to go into South Korea straight away, but I think we kind of have to, in a way, if we want to get anything out of this Asia scoring. So yeah, that one option here is to go to South Korea to Malaysia, just to make it a bit less likely that they coup us out of Malaysia with DEFCON at 4, which is the most aggressive, and buttress South Korea so they can't just take it with another 4-up. Obviously that leaves us open to Korean War, leaves us open to coup Malaysia at DEFCON 4, but cooing Malaysia with 2 influence in it at DEFCON 4 is not the greatest of plays. So I'm okay with that. We've got Arab-Israeli war, so I'm not in so much of a rush to go Egypt. But we do have a Middle East presence problem, which we probably want to fix here as well. So, we might go 1, 2, 3, 4, and see how we go. So Lebanon gets us presence, which is worth, of course, 3 VPs, so quite important. Obviously, they can coup Lebanon, but I don't think them cooing Lebanon here is the most powerful play. So we'll see how we go, because it does allow us to coup a battleground, although our battleground coups aren't great at the moment. And then play into Thailand safely, which would be good. So Warsaw Pact influence, fighting for South Korea. Okay. So it looks like they've probably got Korean War. The question is whether we want to dedicate a 4-op to it here. I think so. It's just so important on these boards, I think, to take South Korea. We already got a 3-op out of them. Yeah, they might have the war, and we're coin flipping it, but A, if they don't have the war, it puts us in a better place if they don't have the war right now. And B, if they do have the war, if we don't play in there because they have the war, they get South Korea, which is such a valuable country, particularly since we've lost access to North Asia. So see how we go, see whether they pull the trigger here. And then the question is whether we pull the trigger on Asia scoring now, if they don't, because I don't think things are going to get all that much better. So we've got 4 ARs, so we could go coup Iran with 1-op, for example, just to reduce DEFCON, then Comic-Con into Thailand, and then play the scoring card, which is 3 ARs, but yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure how I feel about that. It does get us mill up, so we do want to degrade DEFCON for the purposes of not giving away too many VPs here. So there's that. And also, we before the end of the turn, we probably need to degrade DEFCON as well, because we don't want to give them an Italy coup next turn by leaving DEFCON at 4. They kind of accomplished all they want to accomplish with coups this turn by getting us out of Iran on AR1. So independent Reds, coup. Okay, so they have to go to DEFCON for us, interestingly. I mean, it got us out of Panama, which is helpful. But, we probably still want to degrade DEFCON again if we do play into Thailand here. Let's see, 1, 2... And then I think it's Egypt. So 1 into Egypt, yeah, I think is probably good. Or it could be 3 into Thailand. But I think the 1 into Egypt is better at this point. Even though we've got kind of limited... No, I don't love the 1 into Egypt, actually. I think 3 Thailand might be better. Just for decall purposes, and like the decall and Vietnam Revolt's headline. I mean, Vietnam headline's still not great, but I think if we're putting so much stock into trying to fight for this Asia situation, making sure that we don't just lose it to decall is helpful. Okay, so we've got the commitment to Pakistan, which is something. So I think we can dump the Asia scoring for even here. Not too bad a result. It would be nice to take Taiwan this turn in a way, just to sandbag South Korea since we put so much into it, and to make Formosan a bad play for them. But obviously having Asia scoring out makes Formosan less of a bad play anyway, and Taiwan is very expensive for a non-battleground country. It's just we're going to be nervous throughout the whole early war about South Korea there, but it's already done a bit of a job for us in one scoring. Yeah, so now we need to think about how we want to handle both DEFCON and this Arab-Israeli war. I think we probably want to go 2 in Egypt with Arab-Israeli war here, and then either coup Iran or do something else with this Romanian abdication. If they coup Egypt after we put 2 in. Special relationship into France. Okay, so they're spreading pretty effectively. We might actually go into Laos here. Laos and Egypt. That does make playing Arab-Israeli war a lot worse, I guess. Yeah, I think we want to protect this and protect the VPs as much as possible. And then we can go into Laos next action round if we want, but I still think we're probably going to coup Iran just to get DEFCON down. Okay, so there comes the Formosan. They get back to Middle East domination, and we're just going to coup in Iran. Yeah, so it's worth a couple of VPs for us, which is good. All right, so blockade, so Red Scare, containment. So we might try and hold that containment. Or if there's we've got 3 really good headlines here. And we've got the IP war, which, you know, is not amazing at this point, but it's something. And we've also got this Middle East scoring that we need to take care of. So we've still got a few things out there which are worth defectorsing. Obviously, Decol, D-Style, De Gaulle on 2 in France looks pretty good. And NASA is pretty annoying. But I think Purge, Red Scare Purge is probably still the way to go here. We can discard this Suez Crisis to the blockade, which means we're playing everything this turn, so we're not holding containment, we're not holding defectors, but we are putting them both back in for the reshuffle, so that's not such a big deal. The other option is to headline containment to try and get more ops out of our hand, because we know that we're not going to be eventing anything. Which I also kind of don't mind here, because there's a good chance that Red Scare is just going to hit a lot of them playing events in their hand. Like, not heaps, but a bit. But then I always think Red Scaring the Soviets in the early war is generally the way to go. So containment's definitely going to get us 1, 2, 3, 4. Whereas Red Scare might get us 5 or 6. So I think let's go with Red Scare, even though it does cost us a 4-up. Socialist governments, that's pretty bad for us here. Yeah, another headline that makes defectors extremely important. Because it's a pretty easy flip of Italy if we don't have them red scared, and they can still flip it with a 4-up card here, which there's a good chance that they've got, considering we've only seen 3 of them out of the deck. Oh no, we've seen 4, so there's only Marshall Plan left. So yeah, I mean, if they play Marshall Plan to take Italy, it's kind of annoying, but that's not what's happening. Getting a 1-up coup on Egypt instead. Okay, so this opens us up a little bit to a turn here, which is nice. So we can go 1, 2. Under Purge, they're not going to be contesting us with jamming there, I don't think. So that it's just about, do we go Angola, Algeria, or Laos, I think, at this point. Or Libya. I think it's Angola or Laos, just to get moving through the countries. I don't think they're going to go India or Burma, but we're going to be aggressive this turn. Yeah, we just don't have enough ops. I think we're going to be able to even this up, assuming they don't have NASA. Hey Michael, how you doing? Assuming they don't have NASA this turn, so I think we have to go Laos. I think we have to go Libya this turn. So I think we want to go Laos and Angola, but priority 1 is Libya, Middle East scoring. But if we went Laos now and then 2 ops into Libya with defectors, then scoring, then that frees us up a bit. Planning a trip to Australia with some buddies. That's exciting. Not many Americans grace our shores with their presence, so that's good to hear. It's a bit tough in the States, right? You guys only get a couple of weeks of annual leave every year. Making it all the way over to Australia seems like it requires a lot of forethought and planning for you guys. But it's always nice when you can make it across, and hopefully it'll be worth it. So decall for the event, that's annoying. Unlimited vacation, well, that certainly makes it better. So we did get blocked off in Laos. Not much you can do about decall. That just is what it is. But I guess at least we got Angola. And at this point, still a decent chance we get Algeria. So let's place the 2 in Libya. And also, yeah, unfortunate not to get as many, and the event, of course, NASA. So yes, unfortunate, so many events for them, we're not getting as much value out of our Red Scare, but, that is what it is, not much we can do about that. So we're going to have to fight here a little bit for Egypt, just because I think it's worth it. I don't want to give away those VPs. We've now been blocked off almost everywhere. Algeria is pretty much the only other profitable place for us to put ops points here other than Egypt. And I think given Egypt's about to be scored now, that's the way to go. So let's do that. I mean, I know IP was potentially worth a lot more than that, but a 1 in 3 to take Pakistan, yes, we get the Milops points. Yeah, it's tough. Is it worth it just for the Milops points? And then the possibility of flipping Pakistan as a 1 in 3 versus just giving them 3 VPs on Egypt here. Yeah, it always feels bad as the US putting ops into Egypt, knowing that you've got things coming in the mid-war, e.g. Sadat. Yeah, okay, I think we give them 3 VPs here just to be able to pull the trigger on the war later in the turn. And then we've got Algeria. So they had all events. We should have containmented, although we might have lost. Okay, so that makes our war, thank goodness that they failed, but that makes our war a little bit worse. Because we now don't gain a VP, but at least we're offsetting 2 VPs. So in a lot of ways, I guess it doesn't actually make it worse at all. Truman Doctrine or blockade. I think it doesn't really matter. So we'll just go, just in case they've got De Gaulle as well. That's my only rush here. Discard Suez Crisis. So we've got like the long, slow, 2 single ops into Algeria plays, but that's okay. Spacing NORAD. All right, so let's go for the nutso rolls here. 5+, come on. Ooh, so close. Yeah, I mean, they failed Korean War. I'm okay with us failing that. Opponent event. Sure, let's get rid of your Italy adjacency and 1 out of Poland. And we're probably gonna beef up Italy here, I imagine. Okay, so they go Asia domination, which is unfortunate. So we can offset that here, can't we? Yeah. So with them not having Italy adjacency now, I'm not so worried. Marshall plan is definitely coming next turn in one hand or the other. Have family in Brisbane, so that's probably visit. Well, Brisbane's beautiful any time of year. For any of you outside of Australia, Brisbane is in Queensland, which is sort of northeast Australia, and it is tropical, or tropical/subtropical, and in Brisbane, which is in the southern end of Queensland, so the furthest away from the equator in Queensland, it is still sort of mid-20s Celsius every day of the year, pretty much. So even in winter, you get beautiful sun. All right, so we got D-Star, which is kind of helpful. We've got De Gaulle. All right, so we've got a lot of red cards we're going to have to manage. Which ones are we going to give to them? We're going to give them Vietnam at the end of the turn, give them Fidel. We'll try and get away with spacing probably these 2 if we can. But yeah, this is going to be problems for us in terms of getting anything positive happening. So we can put 2 into Jordan. We can put 3 into Egypt with EU potentially. But we're just going to headline defectors and get things underway that way. The thing about this hand is that we know, I think they've got Marshall plan, which may go to space. I think the way that Europe is poised, they're probably not going to be wanting to give us those free influence points. I think we've seen just about everything else from the blue side of the deck so far, though. There must be a couple more, actually. NATO, US, Japan, Independent Red Special Relationship, Formosan, Containment, Defectors, NORAD, EU, Truman. So CIA created and Marshall Plan and UN intervention, I think we know that they have. So yeah, Marshall Plan probably getting UN intervention. That's unfortunate. But maybe CIA created also getting UN intervention. Although, yeah, I don't think they're going to suspect that we've got defectors here, considering we played defectors last turn. It would be pretty gutsy for them to headline UN intervention or Marshall into that. But they are probably faced with that small dilemma of whether to use their UN intervention on Marshall Plan or CIA created, and that might dictate the way they play the rest of their hand as well. So not the worst US start in general, not the best. Them having decol and being able to double decker, just as I said, them having decol. Lucky that we have the defectors for that, because that would have been a pretty brutal way for them to keep eroding anything good that we had going on. So killing Angola, obviously one of the unfortunate things about going in there on turn 2. But now we get a little bit of breathing room here. So we can go 3 into Egypt, but then the response from them is just probably 3 into Saudi Arabia, and we don't have a good response to that. So it's about whether we want to force them to do that in order to get domination. But those 3 ops that we put into Egypt are pretty much wasted in the long game. It's just about how much we value these 3 VPs here now. I think we'd rather go into France since, like, yes, they could have Suez, but we know that we control de Gaulle. So we can go 1, 2, and then our next best is probably, yeah, not having Lao. That was such a beating. I sat there thinking for so long about whether they're going to allow that AR. And if we had, it would have been so much better for our Southeast Asia options, but c'est la vie. Actually, maybe we give them Fidel this action round and just keep our 3 up. So we'll just go 1, 2, and give them Fidel. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be doing with this board the Fidel and then try and realign you trick. Yeah, let's go with that. We could have gone to Saharan states there, I guess, and I still might later in the turn. It's just we really don't have many plays this turn. It's kind of awkward. Which probably, yes, means we want to get this scoring card out of here as soon as possible, but I do want to get Europe to domination before, just in case they have the scoring card. Yeah, the other unfortunate thing on turn 1 was independent reds coming out before we played the Romanian abdication. That is a good reason to play Romanian earlier, but we were trying to do that, our aggression in Asia, so not really an opening for us to play Romanian there, unfortunately. So here's that UN interventions. They chose the CIA. So CIA will come back in the late war. That's something to be aware of. And they've nabbed an extra VP. We're just going to concede that and give them the 4, as unfortunate as that is, because there's not much we can do about it with this hand, unfortunately. So space racing, duck and cover, failure, which gives us a little bit of an opening, which we're just going to take straight away to try spacing D-style and see if we can get a second space, which we do. And then we'll, I think, use that to space de Gaulle, because socialist governments is more of an open play for us here. Okay, interesting. So jamming into South Korea, we'll just put 3 back in, see what they've got. So they know we've got Vietnam, they know we've got de Gaulle. We know they've got Marshalls, so they could go Marshall Plan here, all into South Korea. Should be, yeah. And then they get it with another 3 up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I think 7 in the UK. No, we'll go 7 in Canada. Yeah, so we can now kind of play socialist governments in a way, but not really. In the sense that it's not really that much better. So they've got 1 more AR. Yeah, I kind of think I want to play socialist governments so that they can't take South Korea here this action round, because if we play, or they can't so easily, they have to have a 4 up. You know, maybe they've got the Europe scoring, but yeah, kind of, I like this better, and then repairing whatever our must repair in Europe is, like if they take 2 out of Italy or 2 out of West Germany in our last AR, I think is where we want to be here. It does mean we're carrying, I mean, we're carrying a bad card over to next turn anyway, but we do get the China card out of them. Because if we put 3 into South Korea here, They have to have a 4-up to take it back. Okay, interesting. Yeah, so do they have the Europe scoring or not? It was an amazing bait and switch if they did have Europe scoring. All right, 5-year plan. Well, I'm glad that we did that then. Oh, they had Europe scoring as well. There you go. And then we'll even that up. Give ourselves the best chance of taking it back. And we will try and get it back next turn. All right, so Containment, Rearguards, Voice of America, Brezhnev Doctrine for the end of the turn, How I Land at some point. So what do we want to do here? Voice of America, I think, is probably the way to go. We can go 2 out of each of the Koreas, or 2 South Korea, 1 North Korea, 1 Nigeria. Yeah, I think it's just going to be that, because then we've got another event here, potentially another event here. We'll try and hold this. Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, Quagmire, that's pretty annoying here. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Could have taken 1 out of Indonesia there in case they have Asia scoring, I suppose. And we're probably losing South Korea here anyway. But I think we're getting South Korea or the coup, most likely. Okay. So they're going the coup. They're all okay. Let's put de Gaulle into the Quagmire. All right. So this is interesting. How do they play this one? So we've got a decent turn here with Colonial Rearguards helping us take that one back in Algeria, giving us Nigeria, giving us contesting in Zaire, and giving us contesting in Laos. That's a pretty powerful play. All right. So we do get to give them the China card and have a spare influence. Give them the China card, take South Korea, and have a spare influence to play with. So, yeah, I think we can just overprotect South Korea with that. And call it a day on that South Korea battle. Still not looking good in Asia for Asia scoring, so we need to do something about that. But Colonial Rearguards is going to help us to do that. Allende is very unfortunate. So do we realign Allende? There's a pretty strong argument for doing that, so I think we'll just try 3 realignments in Chile. Oof. I think we start with Cuba and then end up in Chile. It's a pretty low value play in a lot of ways, isn't it? Like, we could just be playing Salt, getting back Voice of America, for example, putting up DEFCON, but not really opening ourselves up to any big coups, which in some ways I think is better. And then we also open up the possibility for us to coup later in the turn. But we also get to VOA again. Kind of don't mind that. At this point. It does put a bit of pressure on them. They can get around it by just putting an extra one in Chile. I think, no, we don't Colonial Regards first, because if we Colonial Regards first, we're probably going one in Nigeria. And that's a good coup target post-salt. So we need to kind of make the decision if we're pulling the trigger on this salt play now. Yeah, I'm just going to do it for something a bit different. Let's give that a go. And it does potentially give us, I mean, it gives us the opportunity definitely to coup on Zaire. Just about what happens here with them and their possible coups. Yeah, I think we just can't afford to get too far behind in all of the mid-war regions here. And we probably want to go into Mexico as well this turn. If we can. The other option there, of course, was to play How I Learned instead. To put DEFCON up after they'd played it to Argentina and then try and coup Argentina, but... Okay. Yeah, so this kind of puts us back in a similar-ish position, but I think it's still a better position. Like if we were to now Voice of America, put them down to just one in Chile, then we now are in the same position we were 2 hours ago, but we have Zaire as a coup target, which I think is good for us, even at -1. So yeah, I don't mind the VOA here now. We can even take one out of somewhere else and leave them with 2 in Chile. So for instance, we can go 1, 2, 3. Taking one out of North Korea, not super impactful at this point. Angola, not super impactful. Nor Cuba. I think it's probably somewhere else in Asia though. Probably Laos. In that if they now don't replace Laos, that's bad. Or is it? No, it's Indonesia. They don't have access. Yeah, that's better. And it gets rid of domination. That is the place to go. Okay, so that play now did work out well for us because it gets us these Milops VPs. Unless they have a duck and cover coup here or something. Gets us Asia equalized and puts them back in the same position they were in South America, meaning they have to have another good ops play to make this work. And they've had an incredible hand so far, so it makes me think that hopefully things are getting a little more difficult for them. Nope, so Shea comes again. Okay. So now it's, do we want to coup Argentina with a 3-op? Or really with a 2-op, because we don't want to spend either of these 3-ops here. So we've got 3 plays left. I think we want to coup Zaire. Then Colonial Rearguards, then reassess, and it might be Nixon plays the China card, or it might be for the event, but it's more likely Brezhnev Doctrine, hold these 2 over. Oh, sorry, hold these 3 cards. Man, oh man. That's what happens when you play the China card and Salt. All right, so now we've got a good Colonial Rearguards. That's helpful. 1, 2 to overprotect, I think here. 3, 4. Oh no, we definitely want the one in Laos is too valuable. So play 1, 2, 3, 4. We can go into Indonesia whenever we want. So I think that's the way to do that. And now AR7 we get Brezhnev Doctrine with which we can take Botswana or South Africa. I think it's probably South Africa, although with shaving out of the deck, Botswana does get a little bit more helpful and it gives us domination. So I think it might be 2 Botswana and they've bear trapped themselves. Oh no, they spaced. I was like, hang on a second, that I just ignored their last AR and bear trap, what the heck? But they succeeded, okay. So 2 into Botswana and then 1, I did say we wanted to go into Mexico before the end of the turn. But now I am rethinking whether that's the case. I think we're just going to take Lao. And then plan to headline Containment next turn. And just hope that we get some South America access here. Alright, Panama Canal returned mid-turn is going to be helpful. So if we headline this, then I think we get pretty good value out of that. Yeah, we might event Camp David Accords, but I think we're probably going to play it, and a 4-op Warsaw Pact is pretty good. And we almost certainly don't want to headline Panama Canal return to get cooed out of Venezuela and Panama. Oh, Lib Theo, come on. Oh, no. Okay. That's so rude. Analyze for progress. I mean, really. Yeah, Central America control. Wow, wait. Alright, so we're not going to play... we're not going to play Panama Canal returned yet. I don't think, because we don't want to give up Zaire. Yeah. So let's just go shuttle diplomacy. Oh, we haven't got Zaire adjacency. Yeah, so we are giving up Zaire anyway. Maybe we do want to go Panama Canal returned then, so that we can start using these ops. Yep. Let's do that. So Panama Canal returned, very powerful play for us there, obviously getting us into both Central and South America. Jamming into Mexico this turn, not a bad play. Like, we are planning to realign Cuba and Mexico at some point this turn. So if we play, considering we're under containment, if we jam into Mexico, it gives us access to Guatemala. They don't really want to play into Guatemala because they don't want to give us the coup. And we have a pretty playable hand, all things considered. So they've got NATO. They're going to fight us for Panama, understandably, and go Zaire and South Africa. They give us NATO, which they don't care about, although we do get to special relationship for VPs now, which is kind of nice if we want, although we might not want to. So I think we just have to realign here. All right. So that worked out all right. They do get to score a presence-less Central America if they want to, though. But then hopefully next AR we get to do some good stuff. All right, Africa's even. That's frustrating, obviously, from where we were, but also not the end of the world. Let's play this test ban now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. We can also play into Colombia if we want this turn, because it's less advantageous for them to coup, because we kind of want to incentivize them to give us a non-battleground coup. But I don't think we're going to do that. space racing our man into Iran. Fair enough. Pretty annoying for us to lose those space VPs, but we're just going to have to soldier on. Do we want a Nixon for the China card? I don't think so. I think we'll go one in UK so that we can special relationship for the VPs into France, one into Brazil, and I think we want adjacency to Zaire to make them play into Zaire. So let's go Cameroon. Yeah, if they want to coup Cameroon, I'm okay with that because I'm okay cooing with Portuguese Empire crumbles just to get us the VPs. And if they overprotect Zaire, so be it. Alright, kitchen debate's definitely not active. Overprotecting Zaire. Play this event and put 2 in France, get 2 VPs. And then I think we'll play these 2 and hold Camp David as a possible headline for next turn. Trigger Warsaw Pact. I think we probably overprotect our South American battlegrounds at this point. It might be 1 Venezuela, 1 Brazil, 2 Uruguay. Although I think we can do that last AR, so we can go 2 South Africa, 3 South Africa, 1. Is South Africa that important here? I think the Middle East is probably just as important. Although Camp David does give us the 1 in Jordan, so playing into Jordan's actually pretty bad. Yeah, we're gonna be doing that with Camp David next turn, so let's not worry about that. Okay, I think shoring up South America as one of the unscored regions is good. Shoring up Asia, helpful. Yeah, maybe Indonesia for the Southeast Asia scoring. 1 South Africa and 2 Uruguay. Yep. Then next AR we can Venezuela, Brazil, and something else if we want to. Or we can just go Colombia as coup protection in a way because it gives us good realigns. Alright, overprotecting from jamming, fair enough, especially since they're under containment, but it is also kind of good for us to see that. So let's go Portuguese Empire crumbles, trigger event. So we can also coup Southeast African states here. I think given the VPs, that might actually be the way to go. Yeah. And keeping ourselves out of the death zone is probably a good way to go. Okay, Junta is exactly what we wanted here. Gives us a decent coup on Panama. So we got, well, Junta, ABM, and Brush War. This is why you gotta always stay alive as the US. These sorts of hands come along every now and then. We've got Camp David and Sadat as well. So we'll start off with the Junta. And then try and get a good Central America scoring this turn. Ugh. Annoying, but we do have a few good events, so it's not the end of the world. And at least we deny them a coup. Oh, do we? Oh, we didn't go Colombia in the end. That would have been nice. Anyway, or we probably still want a coup just for DEFCON, so we'll give this a go. All right. Not too shabby. So Panama looking like a good brush war target at this point. Angola's okay. But I think we'll just give this a go. Come on. Oh, that would have been so good. Oh, okay. So I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use the ABM on Panama as well here. I'm just going to start using my other cards for their events now. So we're almost certainly going to Camp David first. I mean, we obviously want to get this Central America scoring out. It's not going to get any better, is it? Just trying to think. I mean, Lib Theo's out of the deck. So are we going to take Cuba this turn is the only question. Or possibly. Although with Ortega, kind of like, is it worth 1 VP to go into Cuba? I don't know. Probably not. When you balance up Ortega and the amount of ARs we're going to have to spend taking Cuba this turn. So it may be that we just dump Central America scoring, but I don't think we're under that much pressure. I think we want to make them sweat on it a bit longer. Because I think with D-Style's gone, so there's no D-Style, no Fidel's gone. D-Style's in the discard pile, Fidel's gone, Liberation Theo's in the discard pile. I don't think they've got anything else that's going to get them into Cuba this turn. Yeah, I can't think of anything. Whereas we've still got puppet governments and OAS founded, which they might have in hand, that might give us something relevant. But yeah, as far as purges go, I mean, we red scared them on a turn where they played like 3 events or 4 events or something on this turn. 1, 2, 3 events. So we only got 3 value, the EU, the NORAD, and the Cambridge 5 out of our red scare purge headline. They're going to get a bit of value. But I mean, the thing as well, like just like on that turn, was depriving them of the 4-up made a big difference. Okay. So they're investing the China card in Asia. So we don't, it's kind of annoying because it makes this Cultural Revolution a lot worse. Are they going to go Afghanistan and try and go Asia domination here, or are they doing that just for Southeast Asia scoring? Remains to be seen. But let's, I think, ourselves go with the Camp David Accords so that we free up this Arab-Israeli war and give ourselves Saudi Arabia adjacency as well. We can place it out, start correcting this Middle East issue for ourselves. All right, South America on even. We'll go Sudan expels Soviets, take that. Yeah, man, that brush war is worth a lot of VPs because we would have been looking at 5, 6, 7, 8 with Central America control this turn, plus the 1 off the brush war itself. So that's like a 9 VP swing from rolling that 2. Very sad times. All right, spacing Yasuri. So like we can go Colombia and Costa Rica and then try and realign on Panama, but that feels pretty bad. I think we just want to take the coup on Zaire at this point. So in that context, let's go place 1, pardon me, in Saudi Arabia, I think. Yeah, I think we can try and press the advantage here in the Middle East. Saudi Arabia, probably going to... Can we space? Yeah, we can space this Cultural Revolution. You have to play this. Okay, it's annoying. We'll just place one in Nigeria. So we can go that, space this, and hold the ABM for next turn. I think that's probably the way to go. I'd rather have a 4-up ABM to respond to some kind of issue. Okay, public govs, that's kind of nice for us. Kind of nice for us in a way, but obviously then going to Asia Dom is pretty annoying. I think we will put one in Taiwan because we are going to want to even up Asia scoring. One. Yeah, I still don't think we want the one in Cuba. I think we'll go one Peru and maybe one Zimbabwe. Then we'll score Central America. Hope that they don't have Asia scoring. And then, yeah, I think we're in a reasonable position for the Middle East next turn as well, if we can manage to get some spread happening there. We can coup Pakistan in the headline phase with ABM treaty if we want. I think we're probably headlining ABM next turn anyway, just in case we need to repair something in the headline phase. Like, it's just such an important headline, and missile envy's out there as well. Sorry, so not an important headline, it's a powerful headline is what I mean to say. Because you can obviously use it for operations as well. Okay. All right. Unfortunate empty AR there. Could have played the Cultural Revolution earlier, but didn't quite expect to play the China card when we had it. All right. It's an interesting one. Could probably hold that Ask Not here, or we'll see. See how this OPEC ends up looking. But I still think I'm pretty happy to headline a bit of a low ops hand, unfortunately, with the Summit and the Truman Doctrine not doing a lot. I think I'm still happy to headline ABM treaty here. The other option is to headline Cuban Missile Crisis. And then we get an ABM treaty, but I don't feel that that's quite as powerful here as having this option, especially since we're pretty sure they've got missile envy. In fact, I think we might know they have missile envy here. And they probably know that we've got ABM. So if they do headline missile envy, we give them, we will bury you, or flower power. Flower power is just such a better card for us to play is the problem. I know we will bury is going to give them 3 VPs. It's a tough one when we're at -8. because we do want to try and get inside War Games range by next turn if we can. Although it is going to be hard with this hand. Depends on what scoring cards they have. So assuming this goes off without a hitch, I think we'll probably coup Pakistan, given where things are at in Asia. Yeah, I kind of want to hold this Ask Not to try and get rid of something a bit more powerful. Like getting rid of a bunch of one ops is fine, but you're spending 3 ops to get rid of some 1 ops and maybe increase them. And OAS Founded is still fine for us this turn as well anyway, so... yeah. I think we're just going to have to deal with this hand. Albeit a little bit lacking in power. And then try and hold that Ask Not for next turn. So we are in the advantageous position in Asia of having the 8 countries under our control effectively if we take Japan and Taiwan, so it's going to be hard for them to dominate us. But if we do get the ABM coup here on Pakistan, then that makes it even better, obviously, until and unless they get the war. And then I want to try and use some of these ops. I'm probably going to try and flower power early in the turn into the Middle East. And or South Africa. Probably South Africa first, actually. Yes. So what's going to space? I think Wheelberry is going to space. Alright, Southeast Asia scoring. Yes, 2 VPs. Alright, do we do something here? I don't think so. I think we just coup Pakistan as planned. So that's a good start. 2 VPs is kind of where we wanted to be going. We didn't have any real ways to gain VPs in our hand as we discussed, but yeah, that certainly helps. Also puts us in a good mill-ops position, so I'm glad we held that ABM. And that was a good roll. So yes, we've got coup Nigeria. Okay. So we get to take South Africa now. Have we got anything better than that? I don't think we can really flip anything at this point. So let's go 1, 2. I don't need to overprotect Pakistan. I think just taking Middle East domination is good. Yep, let's do that. So them headlining Southeast Asia scoring there tells me that they've got a pretty defensive hand, which they're a little bit concerned about, which is kind of good for us. All right. I think we're happy to fight for Israel here. Try and draw out, if we do think they've got a weaker hand, try and draw out some of their plays. We can even potentially commit the China card to this here, especially with Ask Not as backup going into the late war, although we do need to be careful of Japan if we do that. So we are probably going to be wanting to play OPEC into Japan if that's the case, because then if they draw US-Japan, they can space it and take Japan with the China card, which is really bad for us because it messes with our domination and gives them an adjacent battleground country, which is really bad. Ooh, Asia scoring, hello. That is huge for us. So perhaps we don't need to give them, I think we're a bit happier to give them OPEC now actually. Don't need to give them the China card. I'm a bit happy to give them OPEC after giving us 5 VPs. Could have broken Iraq there instead, I guess, but with the OPEC, but I think just freeing ourselves up for plays elsewhere is the way to go now. So OAS doesn't do a heap for us. Oh, grain sales. Yeah, forgot about grain sales. Yeah, so OAS doesn't do a heap for us, but I think let's just space as well. Get that out of here. But it does get us, you know, a threat on Panama or Argentina. I do think we want to go one into Japan with one of these one-ups. I know it's weird, but I think it is one of the better one-up plays that we have on the board at this point. Once Ortega's gone, I'll be more comfortable playing into Central America. But at this point, I'm not particularly. There is possibly an argument that Truman Doctrine removing from Yugoslavia is better than any of our other available one-up plays at this point. Just to get rid of adjacency. But I don't think we need to worry about that too much right now from a tempo perspective. Yeah, I think it's probably Japan, and then that are our best one-up options. Georgia's not urgent. Portugal or Greece is also decent from a brush war perspective on Italy. Yeah, I wonder what else they had in hand this turn, because that headline of Southeast Asia scoring really indicated a painful hand, and they've certainly playing Asia scoring there indicates to me that they do have some more pain to come, or some other cards that they couldn't play for ops to contest Asia. Grain sale is certainly one of them. I'm just trying to think about by the time it gets to turn 7, with the amount of information going on the board without a card tracker, I often forget, other than Miss Olympia, which we knew that they had, what's going on. Okay, so we have to give them Ask Not. That's unfortunate. So could we have played around that? I mean, I guess we could have held We Will Bury You to try and kill them. Yeah. I mean, they knew that we had it, so it just prevents them playing Missile Envy, but it does protect our Ask Not as well, so we could have done that. Like, as in, they never would have played Missile Envy if we still had the We Will Bury You, because they knew that we had that. Because I imagine that Z is tracking cards to the extent that they would be aware of that. Okay. So in terms of 2-up plays then, let's go 1 in Portugal, 1 in Japan. Yeah, so like we could have jammed somewhere, but there's not that many places that are good for us to jam at the moment. Like 1 in India, maybe. Better than that slightly defensive play in Asia. I don't know. All right, coup Zimbabwe to get the Africa Dom. So yeah, unfortunate that we can't jam and then threaten the Truman Doctrine in Poland, but it is what it is. Let's just go 1 in Saharan states and see if they've got even more 1-ups that they want to use to coup. We just want to try and neutralize this Africa scoring if we can. We're going to Sudan next if we have to. But we've also got OAS founded, which I'd actually be, reasonably happy playing as a headline in the absence of knowing what else we have. Just because it, opens up Argentina or Panama to attack. All right, US-Japan came down eventually, and they're jamming South Africa. So we do get Japan, 1 wasted off there, but that's okay. Yeah, I think... I think just placing 1 here is best. Because the difference is 4 VPs in the headline phase, which, they don't get a coup if they take South Africa, so I'm kind of okay with that. Middle East scoring, I'm not keen to headline here, I don't think. We've got special relationship for some extra VPs. 1 small step, which is if they space, going to get us 3 VPs, which is nice. Test ban for some ops, socialist governments, which is a space option, and you're in Samantha for late in the turn. So this might be a North Sea oil turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would require playing a whole hand. I actually think I prefer OAS founded, although it does give them, even though it gives them like a 4-up play with taking South Africa, I think I'm happy to take the coup on Zaire. So let's go with that. All right, Cultural Revolution, I can deal with that. So I'm feeling a little bit safer because we've got a fair number of VPs in this hand, as well as a decent board position. But obviously you never say never. So Middle East is currently 4. Obviously they could have Muslim Revolution or something nutty. Oh, wow, okay. That is a fortunate roll for them. So we can do this special relationship later in the turn. Let's just take South Africa back, I think. Or do we want to try something a bit more aggressive? Nah, I think that's where we want to go with it. Although jamming into Argentina is also nice here. Yeah, I'm just going to give that a go. I think we're in a board position where it's okay to be aggressive, put a bit of pressure on their hand. Your intervention bear trap, okay. Alright, let's keep some ops for later in the turn on either duck and cover or North Sea Oil. Just play North Sea Oil for 3 here. Try and keep that for later in the turn. And then we'll just try and rack up some victory points in the next 2 ARs. Hopefully they don't do too much damage. Great, that's good. Get that out of there. Get this out of here. And then we can special relationship into Italy or Greece. There's an argument about which one makes, it's even better that we do it now. Which one makes it safer? Obviously brush war's still out there. 3, 4, 5. I think it's probably safer to go into Greece. Although it's like we know they've got the China card versus them maybe having brush war. I think even with brush war, it's if you roll or you get the country. With the China card, they still have to jam, and we have an opportunity to still take it back. So since we've got playable ops in hand, I think going into Greece there is better. Come on, go to space. We really want them to go to space. All right. So I think we'll just keep filling up African countries until we get a coup here. So we'll go... maybe 1, 2... and then we did want that one in Italy. But is there somewhere better for us to go here? One in Thailand since they've got the China card, one in Pakistan. So look, we're probably not going to coup for the rest of the turn. So I can actually just play Yuri and Samantha here. Yeah, I think that's better. So let's go Yuri and Samantha into Tunisia, since they don't have adjacency to the others anyway. Oh no, because we're going to retain Tunisia adjacency. Yeah. So the correct one actually is Ethiopia, because we can lose that adjacency there, or it's Kenya. I think it's probably Kenya because it's safer. Oop, and it guarantees us something in that region. So let's go with that. Sorry, I have to think these things through sometimes. Yeah, so we ideally don't want to go to space until they do. But we're going to have to, I think, next AR, unfortunately. We're going to have to either... I mean, I guess we can play this duck and cover. Yeah, it's not the worst. Where do we want our 1? One, 2. Three. That'll do. Just in case. Just really hope they go to space here. And we forgot Africa scoring. That's kind of annoying. I think we're going to space anyway. We'll just hold this one small step to next turn. It's just too good. Although we really want our space to fail if we go to space. Maybe we actually, because going to space then is bad, except that we get to see the headline. Maybe we just play socialist governments and then repair. That might be better. Okay, Chernobyl. Okay, overprotecting some stuff. Asia. Yep, I think we will just play socialist governments. No Iron Lady, sadly. And we'll just go 1, 2, 3. And pass it back. Alright. Yeah, probably actually could have cooed there. Might have been better. Anyway. This is not a great hand. But we do get a... We get to terrorism and CIA created, I guess. CIA created, see their hand. Yeah, let's go with that. At least we get some information. And we can have a coup on one of the African battlegrounds, which is not great, but at least it's something, and protects our South American battlegrounds a little bit. We have got Ortega, so glad that we didn't go into Cuba. And it means that we can go into Cuba after that. We've got an evil empire to prevent flower power. Or to cancel flower power. Alright, decol, interesting. So we're going to have to be careful of Thailand here, which means we might actually give them the coup and just place into Thailand. We'll see how we go. Yeah, could have double overprotected Thailand actually because of decol with one of those ops last turn when we had some spare floating ops rather than Guatemala, for example. Although, you know, obviously brush war is still a live threat on Thailand as well. So we can't be everywhere all the time. Yeah, so we'll get some information here about whether terrorism is a danger. Pershing's pretty annoying. Iranian hostage crisis, not too bad. Ortega we want to get out of the way early in the turn. Yeah, shuttle diplomacy is interesting here. So, oh no, it's not going to matter because it doesn't count for final scoring, and Middle East and Asia have already been scored. So no, it's not that interesting. Alright. So Europe scoring, Iron Lady, Nixon, Iran-Contra scandal, nothing too powerful, just Europe scoring. So we don't want to be terrorisming them. Oh, they got 5-year plan as well. Oh, so maybe we do terrorism them, try and hit the 5-year plan later in the turn. That's possible. Okay. So they didn't go into Thailand, which is interesting. So we'll just, I think, coup Algeria or Zaire. So Algeria we can potentially realign later, and it's harder to succeed. I think Zaire is the way to go. So I think they are going to go to space then with East European unrest. Great. So we can go Evil Empire. 1, 2. Three. No, let's go 1, 2, 3 up here. So this is going to space, but we want to do that Oh, I guess we can't do it if we do the one small step play because we'll be in 3 op space territory. So just think about how important this is. Lebanon plus 2 additional influence. Not too bad because we can repair Lebanon and almost repair elsewhere, but we can keep an eye on their hand to make sure we're comfortable with that. So relining Zaire, yep. That's not good for us. Probably could have played around that actually by going into Zimbabwe. So let's try and create a problem for them if we can. They did overprotect Argentina. Oh, quite a lot. When did that happen? Didn't notice that. Let's play Ortega first, actually. Trigger event. Okay. Place in Tunisia, and then we can go for the Morocco realign potentially, though I'm not super keen on that. I think we're just going to have to give up on Africa a little bit. Probably could have been a bit more aggressive though, actually. Maybe play into India, that sort of thing. I think Tunisia is a bit of a nothing play. Yeah, because now we're going to have to... That was just really dumb. Let's go there. So we do... Come on, go to space. We do get this terrorism 50-50 shot later, hopefully, at hitting the 5-year plan and making them play Europe scoring. That's the big hope. All right, they succeeded in space, which means we get to 1 small step, which is great. Oh, so that plan paid off. So we need to wait till our AR6. So we've got 1 more AR to play here. Cooing with South African unrest on Guatemala. 1 AR to play will be Iranian hostage crisis. Play 2 and 1. AR6, and then yeah, we terrorism, and we've got a chance. You're saying there's a chance. Come on, terrorism. Please hit that 5-year plan. We want it to succeed. Actually, I need to be very careful saying things like that. Obviously, I'm talking about the game. We want this card to hit our opponent's 5-year plan card. Okay. Colombia is an interesting play there, but we know that they... I mean, if we hit wrong here, then we might get a bit jammed in Venezuela, but I think it's worth it. Yes! Huge plays. That is such a big swing. Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, I would be super frustrated if I was our opponent there. That's pretty annoying as a tempo swing as well, going to turn 10, missing out on the 3 ops that they would have had to play off the 5-year plan, plus giving us 5 extra VPs. That's just nuts. Okay, so we get to, we have to play Marine Barracks Bombing or Pershing. Just play Pershing. Oh, we haven't actually gone to space. We can just space Pershing. Let's better. Well, even better. We get to discard this. Oh my goodness. Glad I didn't just play that Pershing. And now we get to go Star Wars. Wow. That's so good. Star Wars, Grain Sales to Soviets, or Bear Trap. I just don't think you can get better than that. Defectors would have been good too, actually. I could have just Star Wars Day R1. Could have been excited. I think we just play Grain Sales to Soviets here. Alright, we can discard a 3-up card. We can attempt a coup in Zaire. And we'll discard the Reformer. Yeah, that's fine. They get to Junta. Yeah, we probably could have played that better. I'm just kind of rushing a little bit because we're running out of time. Bear Trap possibly still would have been better than Grain Sales there. But my thinking was Grain Sales reduces their hand size and gives us mill-ups. But yeah, it does create some issues for us here. So do you need to think about that? Kitchen Debates currently live is nice. How I Learned as an AR7 play is an option too, just to get some VPs. So they take Venezuela, that's annoying. We get to coup Colombia to try and get the relines, but they might have the scoring cards, so. Oh no, but we even up countries, so it's not too bad. So yeah, they're under a bit of pressure here now. I mean, we do have this Shay to deal with before the end of the turn. So 3 ups to space for Space Shuttle. De Gaulle's not too much of a problem for us. Oh, that's kind of annoying, actually. That means we don't get an AR7 because of the Latin American debt crisis. So they get to jam with the China card last. Yeah, that's actually pretty bad for us. This is a pretty big play. It's going to be interesting what they take here. In some ways, they kind of want to take Kitchen Debates, just because 2 VPs at this point might be important. But yeah, I mean, getting to play China card last is, as the last play in the game, is massive as the USSR. So that's a huge play. It's one reason why playing that Latin American debt crisis also might have been a little bit greedy, even though we don't love having the Reformer as our last play. It might still be better than just losing to them being able to jam us out of a whole lot of regions with the China card. So one worth considering for sure. So they did take How I Learned. Interesting. So we'll realign here, I think, with U2 Incident. We might just play the Kitchen Debates. No, we do want to do the realign now, I think. Do we have 2 good realign targets? That's the question. We do. We've got Angola as well. So then let's realign with this. Venezuela first. And then Angola. No change. Okay. So we've got Venezuela back, but we're down to 8. So we've still got 5 ARs. It's a lot of time. 4 VPs. Don't love that. We'll take our 2 here. We really kind of need Space Shuttle to succeed now, I think, at this point. So I think we'll... Is Shea or De Gaulle worse at this point? So Shea gives them Colombia, Uruguay. I'm not so fussed about, but it does mean that we can't get domination here, but I think De Gaulle means the same. So I think we take Shea, we space De Gaulle. That would have been a nice hit. So this means we have to use these 5 VPs to overprotect. Oh, thank goodness. Okay. Actually, we can make them go first with Shea here. Yeah, they could have made it close for sure. Colombia. So we can go 2 in Chile potentially. And 1 in Haiti. And double 1 for them there, super bad as well. So the rolls have not been their friends this turn. So they've got 2 plays left. We've got 1 play left. But we can, with the board looking how it is, hopefully make their last China card play have to be less good. Well, Live Theo is a good one to come up with at this point, actually. So let's just go on 2. They haven't repaired Chile yet, so they'll have to repair Chile and do some other things with this last play of the game. It's possible, so they can't break us in Europe. They can break a non-battleground, but that won't be enough. They can definitely break us in Asia, I think. What adjacency have they got? Oh yeah, they've got Indonesia here. But yeah, we'll see where they go. No, they're placing. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Pass, and that's it. Done. So well played. Well played to Ziemowit. Thanks those of you who've watched along. That was a super tense game the whole way through. We had a few things go our way, including that very fortuitous 5-year plan at the end. Thanks, as always, to a wonderful opponent. And those of you on YouTube, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel. And we'll be back with some more matches from the rest of the tournament as we go through. Have a good day. Thanks very much.